everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and today I finally have my closet case little mini capsule wardrobe lookbook for you. This was the closet case mini capsule was the last in a line of 3 capsules that I put together that can kind of interchange and go together. At the very end of this, I've got kind of just like a massive lookbook where I'm pairing all the items with the previous 2, and I'm going to put links, cards up here for the first one, which was the Sew Over It ebook Work to Weekend, and then the second one was a mini capsule of Mimi G patterns. So I'm kind of mixing and matching the closet case pieces with those because they were all designed to go together from the beginning. So yes, this wraps up this color story. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Now I am going to put, last time I did not put video of me in each item as I was talking about it. And so I made sure and filmed some of that so that while I'm talking, you can kind of see a little bit more of the details. So I found you can see that better than me just holding up the garments while I'm talking. So anyway, let's start. For this closet case capsule, I made 8 patterns. Again, the idea was to make 5 of each of these for a total of 15 patterns, and I stuck to the 5 for the Work to Weekend because, again, there were 5 patterns in that ebook. The second one, I got a little carried away. I had 5 patterns, but 2 of the patterns had top and bottom combos, and I wanted to do both because so you could wear them together separately kind of thing, so that turned into 7. And then this one, I just kept thinking, oh, I have that closet case pattern that I really want to make up. Oh, I have that closet case pattern I really want to make up. Anyway, it just got away from me. And I'm going to put a link also up here to my closet case plans. So you can kind of see, and I stuck pretty close to the plans. I did deviate a little bit, and I'll talk about that when I get there. But okay, so I made 5 tops, 2 pairs of pants, and a coat with this one. And technically the coat isn't really mix and match. It's just my new winter coat. Like, it's just what I'm wearing pretty much on a daily basis. So it's not really part of an outfit per se, it's just my winter coat now. And it's phenomenal. But let's get started, and I'll start with the tops, then we'll talk about the pants, and then we'll finish off with the coat. So, starting off, the first top that I did is the Carolyn pajama top. Now, a while ago, I follow some fashion YouTubers and bloggers, and let's see, this was the Anna edit, and I don't know if I'll be able to find the video, but I'll put a link to her channel up here, or down in the description box. She does a lot of like capsule shopping and putting together a little capsule for each of the different seasons. And she had a blouse, and I'm not even going to remember where it's from. I think it was an equipment blouse that was like the men's pajama blouse in silk that she wore, just like paired it. Anyway, again, this was like over a year ago, probably I saw this, and I'm like, yes, I love that because it's a blouse, but it's different than like your standard button-down blouse. And in silk, why not? Why not? And then there was the whole pajama trend where, I mean, stars were wearing like full-on pajamas and then like pairing them with high heels and that kind of thing for outerwear. I didn't want to go quite that literal with it, but I did love the idea of a pajama top. So hopefully I've been showing you pictures of me in the Carolyn top. So I made this out of some 4-ply silk crepe that I had in my stash. This shirt drapes like you wouldn't believe because 4-ply silk crepe is it's heavy. I mean, it's really meant for like bottom weight type applications, but because of the drape, it totally works with this top. And this top is so beefy. I did white piping. I made my own piping with some silk, white silk. Actually, it's not even white. It's almost like a creamy white. It's not a stark white. I do better with creamy whites with my complexion that I had in my stash. I have no idea where the white came from. Who knows? But I had enough to make piping, and I've got a piping foot on my sewing machine, and it made sewing the piping and putting the piping into my shirt a dream. If you don't have a piping foot and you have any aspirations of doing piping, I used a 1/8 inch piping foot, and 1/8 inch, actually it was less than an eighth. It was 9, I can't remember. It was less than 1/8 of an inch though. The cotton cording that I just got in the home deck area at Joann's. But anyway, because you want the thinner piping for clothing. Now, if you were doing home decor stuff, you want like a thicker piping. But I have the 1/8 inch piping foot for my machine, and it just made sewing everything in a breeze because you are literally, it makes you sew right on the same line. So anyway, love this top. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. It's already been worn out a few times. Yeah, and it doesn't even wrinkle really badly because it's such a thick fabric. Oh, this, now the fabric cost a small fortune, and it was actually purchased for a different project that never happened. And on that note, I had purchased this for a pair of pants actually for myself that I just never got around to making, and I'm glad I didn't. I wouldn't have gotten as much wear out of a pair of pants as I will totally get out of this top. But like years ago, like three, maybe 4 years ago, I bought this fabric, and it's just been languishing in my stash. And I made my sister a dress for, she was a bridesmaid in a wedding, and they all just had to have blue dresses. And this color of blue is amazing on my sister. She has like dark, almost navy blue eyes. This color is just like magnificent on her. It's actually the same color I'm wearing right here. But anyway, so she wanted a dress out of that. I didn't have enough to make the dress, so I ended up having to buy more fabric. But I had also purchased, because I get my silk a lot of times from a wholesaler in New York, and because I've got the business code and that kind of thing. Anyway, they have all the same colors in different substrates. So they have the same color in 4-ply silk as they do in crepe de chine, charmeuse. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of them. So I had bought a yard of that same color in a crepe de chine, thinking that I would use it for lining when I was doing her dress, and I ended up not needing it and not using it. So I had a yard, and I had even talked about it in my plans video, of this same colored silk that totally goes with this capsule, and the crepe de chine. And so as I was finished my Carolyn top, I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this 1 yard of crepe de chine? And then it kind of dawned on me. So when I made the Amy jumpsuit, because I was, again, going through all of my closet case patterns, and when I had made the Amy jumpsuit, and I'll put a link up here to that. I styled it 6 or 3 different ways. I can't remember. I styled it a few different ways, and I'll put the card up here. But I remember thinking that, oh my gosh, this would make such a great camisole pattern because it looks like the Ogden cami, but it's got bust darts, which makes doing a full bust adjustment super easy. And you could put bust darts in the Ogden cami, but I had the Amy. So I actually did I'm going to have a lot of cards in this video. Pop a card up to it of turning the Amy jumpsuit into a camisole. And I'm so glad I did. This is going to be the best layering piece. My darts could use a little bit of work. I think I need to lower them just a hair, but which is pretty typical. And I should have known that from my jumpsuit. But anyway, I am going to make the jumpsuit again. So now I know. So this has just been like a perfect little shell top. It's also been worn a few times. I'm in love with it. It probably will never be worn by itself. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say never, but maybe in the summer or spring. But anyway, it's a great layering piece for now. And on layering pieces, I'm also going to show you number 3 top is I had just enough hot pink knit left over to take the netty bodysuit and turn it into just a layering tank. And this is another one that'll probably always be worn layered. I mean, I shouldn't say that for forever. But I had a little bit of rayon knit left over, and it's not a good rayon knit. Like the other two, I've made 2 shirts out of that same fabric. I got it for a song. And it's just not very good rayon knit. It just doesn't wear very well, but it was the right color. And I thought, well, I'll try this hack out and just kind of see. And it's not really a hack. I just didn't add sleeves to the netty bodysuit, and I cut it off at the length that I like it. Now, I want to talk about fabric jumping. So when I was working in alterations and doing a lot of bridal and stuff like that with, I've never done bridal by myself, but I have worked in a workroom doing bridal before. There is chiffon. So if you have a dress with a whole bunch of layers of chiffon, you have to be really careful when hemming, because when you cut off chiffon, because it is so light and open weave, that it will jump. So even though you're cutting it at the hem, if you're not careful, once that weight is removed from the bottom, the length that you've cut off, it will raise up even higher. And they call the fabric jumping. And so all of a sudden you've got a hem that's too short. So you have to be very careful with hemming chiffon in those situations. That totally happened with this top. So again, rayon knit is very heavy and drapey. And I had it all laid out, and I think it had just kind of, the weight of it had kind of stretched it out a little bit when I had it laid out on my cutting mat. So when I cut it, it jumped a little bit, and it made it too short, not too short, but it's short. It's shorter than what I intended, like maybe by a couple of inches. Now, it's still fine for a layering top, and actually it's kind of nice because it hits me kind of short. It's not cropped. It doesn't show my stomach, but it just barely fits into the waistband of pants, which is nice. It doesn't add the bulk or whatever. And then I can wear it out if I wanted to, and it doesn't look like I've got a shirt dangling down real low. But anyway, it did jump on me. It's not as long as I intended it. But again, I just didn't add the sleeves. And I talked about it in one of my Vlogmases, kind of all the different tapes I use when I'm sewing with knits, and I just did that with that. I put a neckband in, and then I just, put stay tape in the armholes of the top, and then just folded them under and cover stitched. So the knit stay tape keeps it from stretching out, but I still, I don't know, it's just a little cleaner finish with the cover stitch. So anyway, that turned out to be a fantastic top. My next top, so that's 3 tops in. Okay, so top 4 is my Callie, and I talked about that also in another video. I'll put a card up here where I turned a hot pink thrifted women's blouse into the Callie, and I go through how I did that in that video on my channel. Again, I love this top. It is the shiny, normally when I'm sewing with silk charmeuse, I use the reverse side and have the shiny side against my skin, but this shirt was already made up, so I had to use the side that they used. And I'm not super crazy about shiny silk for just like everyday wear, but this top just turned out too cute, and it feels like heaven on my skin, and so this will definitely get worn not only through the winter, because I think I would also really like it layered over a turtleneck. We all know my obsession with turtlenecks this year is like almost getting out of control. But I think that would look really cute. Anyway, that was my Callie that I made with my thrifted shirt. And I've already talked about that quite a bit. So there's that one. Okay, and let me see. I'm trying to do all this by memory. My last ebony. I'm trying to do all this I did all of my twirls and stuff yesterday. Okay, the last top that I made was my ebony top. And if you'll remember in my plans video, which I should have already put a link up, I was worried about this one. So this is, I think it's a double brushed poly knit. Again, I don't use polyester a ton, but this felt so good, and I've heard that about the double brush polys at Joann's, and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like heaven, like let's just try it and let's play around with it. But when I got it home, I realized the print had been printed selvage to selvage, so the flowers were running this way across the fabric instead of up and down, which just looked ridiculous. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to use it because it did have some lengthwise stretch, but not a lot. I mean, all of the stretch was in the cross grain, so I was worried that this wasn't going to work. But the ebony is drapey, so I was hoping I wouldn't need a whole lot of the stretch across the body because it's so drapey. So I did the cropped version of the ebony, and I lengthened it by 2 inches because I really don't want it like super cropped. And I love this top. The sleeves are a tad snug because, again, they are cut, it was cut in the cross grain, not the lengthwise grain. So the greatest stretch doesn't go around my arm, which I have larger arms. So that's not ideal, but it's fine. Like, it's enough. I mean, it doesn't bother me. And I can't remember if I did a full bust adjustment on the pattern or not. But I did go ahead and sew the neckband in, and I cut that correctly because I figured it doesn't matter which way the flowers are going for the neckband because you're not even going to be able to tell. So I love this top. I wore it with my axle skirt that I'm going to talk about next week, which is the last Sew My Style pattern. But I love this top. I think it is so cute and flattering, and I was really worried about it because of my large bust that it would just hang and look like a tent. So now I'm really super tempted to make the dress up this summer. Or even the tunic, because it has like a raglan sleeve. I mean, there's just tons of options with this pattern. But I was so pleasantly surprised with how this, I mean, the minute I put it on, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cute. And it'll be so cute with high-waisted trousers and skirts. I'm sold on the ebony tee. So definitely, it sews up super quick, very comfortable, so cute. So I was very pleased with this one. Okay, the 2 pairs of pants. The first one we'll talk about are my Sasha trousers. I talked about these in Vlogmas a lot. They got made up at the beginning of Vlogmas. I love these pants. They are so comfortable. They are a classic pair of chino trousers. I did all the bells and whistles on this pair. They're in a navy cotton stretch twill. Literally will get worn to death. It's getting a little chilly to be wearing them right now just because my ankles get cold because I'd made the cropped version. But I'm really contemplating making a full-length version without the slash pockets and the welt pockets in the back. and the belt loops and stuff, and just making them in some remnants of the stretch velvet with the polka dots that I made my jacket with for the So Frosting. I think I'm probably out of cards by now, so I don't know if I can pop a card to that. I will if I can, but you can just search on my channel. But I think I have enough to do a pair of full-length pants on that. And this Sasha trouser is my go-to for cigarette pant from here on out. They're so flattering. I love these. I just find them to be adorable and super comfortable because they're stretch. Yes to the Sasha trousers. If you don't have them, they're like the unsung pattern in the pattern world. I don't feel like I've heard a ton other than when they were first released. I mean, maybe people are making a ton of them, just aren't talking about them, because they are definitely a cake pattern. Like, you could make these up and wear them, especially if you have a business casual job. Oh my gosh, I would have like a full closet of these and all kinds of things. I want to make them in a wool plaid now, if I can find some stretch. I'm obsessed. So anyway, yes to the Sasha trousers. Second pair of pants were the Morgan jeans. I'm also pleasantly surprised with these. Now, these are a non-stretch jean pattern, and it is a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever cut. I made these during Vlogmas as well, and you can kind of see my fitting process. I did have to do some fitting in the inner thigh. I had to take off some width in the inseam of the inner thigh, both in the front and the back, because I was just getting some puddling of fabric there. In addition to my regular stuff, I always have to shorten the front rise because I'm very short in that area, and then I shorten the leg length because I have like 2-inch long legs. But anyway, I'm so pleased with how these turned out. I've been wearing them constantly because I'm really wanting them to get that like good lived-in feel. So I'm gonna wash them here, I think pretty soon, and just try and get those. You know, the more I wear them and the more they get washed. I mean, I'm not washing them after every wear by any means. I'm going, wearing them a lot and then washing. So you'll get those nice wear patterns like my other cone mill stretch denim, because this is in a cone mill as well. But I'm very excited of these just being a good lived-in pair of jeans. And already, I made them tight, and already, let's see, probably a week and a half since I've made them, and I've worn them probably 5 or 6 times, at least for a portion of the day. And already they're like bagging on me, which is what I wanted and knew what it would happen. So yeah, definitely make them tight, even if you want a relaxed fit, because they will relax. Now again, they'll tighten up again when I wash them, I'm sure. But yeah, there's no stretch or recovery in these. Fantastic. All right, and now my last piece. This is where I deviated a little bit from my plans video. I had this Liberty cotton lawn that I had planned on making a cali with, and then decided not to last minute because number one, there's a lot of like golden yellow, like a marigold color in this cotton lawn. It's gorgeous, but that's just not a good color on me, like against my face. But then I thought, I was watching some other things, and Lauren Guthrie from Guthrie & Ghani had made a Kelly anorak and had lined the body with a Liberty lawn, and then, I think it was her Kelly, and then just done the sleeves in Bimberg. And I was like, that's smart. I mean, you couldn't do the whole thing in the cotton because it would stick. But I was like, yes, I should do that. And I had just enough. And again, you can follow it on Vlogmas of me making the Kelly anorak. And I did have to piece one of my back sides together, but that's fine because I quilted it to thin slit. And so you can't even tell like where the fabric has been joined. So technically 1.5 yards is not enough to line the body and the hood of the coat, but I made it work. And you can't even tell because I quilted all of the lining, including the sleeves, which were done in a Bimberg, onto thin slit for warmth. And this coat is everything that I need for like a daily winter coat. It is warm. It's got the gigantic hood. I used their hardware kit. Goes in perfectly. I did that for my other Kelly that I made. This is my new coat. I absolutely love it. Put in a little hang tag there at the back facing. I used their lining expansion pack for this one. Yeah, this coat is going to get just a ton. I mean, it's going to be my new go-to workhorse coat pattern. I used a cotton twill for this as well that does have stretch in it, but you don't need stretch. It just so happens I got it at Joann's, and that's what it had, which actually made hammering the eyelets for the button, the snaps, and for the eyelets really hard because the stretch content was like not wanting to cut. So I was having to like shove it through with an awl, but it was like stretching, and I've just made a spot on my face. Sorry. It's kind of distracting. My skin's super sensitive. I scratched a little bit and turns bright red. But anyway, yeah, so this coat is just everything, and I'm so pleased. So anyway, I'm going to end this video with a montage of me just trying everything on with everything else from the previous 2 capsules. And yes, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've got a lot of videos coming all the way through the end of the year, and then we've got a lot of fun stuff coming up next year. So that subscribe button will make sure you don't miss a thing. Give me a thumbs up if you like this type of video. It helps me with my planning, especially for next year. And yeah. I will see you later this week with a Athena Kaku Kimberly dress review, which would be a fantastic holiday dress if you haven't made it yet, either Christmas or New Year's or whatever your celebrations are for the end of the year. So I will see you guys on Friday. Bye.